I was 27 years. I first went in my first trawler when I came out of the Navy in 1946. And of course, after spending quite a lot of that time in the tropics, in the Navy, it come quite hard to be in the Arctic with all the ice. The big thing that we used to worry about, weather wasn't a big problem. Wind and swell and water coming aboard. It was uncomfortable, but we got used to it. We had to do it. The big thing that concerned us was when it was freezing very, very hard. It not only very uncomfortable for the men, but the ice used to collect on the rigging and make the ship very unsteady. But one of the things, you gut in fish, you're working 18 hours a day once you start fishing. 18 hours on and 6 hours off. And that 18 could be very hard, very cold and very wet. But one of the things that we used to suffer with was poisoned hands, saltwater boils around the wrist. You used to still carry on work. Your fingers used to swell, even in good weather. The sheer amount of work you used to do, gutting your fish with razor sharp knives. Your hands and your wrist movements were on the go all the time, heavy weights, and everybody's hands used to swell. So if you had any wedding rings on or anything like that, those of us with any sense, I found out the hard way of course, took them off before you actually started fishing. That gives you an idea of how hard work it was. Normal conditions, even summertime, your hands used to swell. And then it would take all the 3, 4 or 5 days running home for your hands to get back down to normal again. Well, ice was formed on the ship by spray, and the temperature, I think I'm talking to the converted now because you're on Celsius, aren't you? Well, there was a professor, an anaesthetist professor, came on one of the motherships one time, the only mothership, and spent a few weeks at Iceland. And he wrote a white paper on the ice and the conditions. And he registered the fact that it was quite common for us to be working on deck in temperatures of minus 15, 16, 17 degrees Celsius. Minus. So your water, the spray coming aboard, when it hit anything, and invariably it was metal or steel wires, things like that, it froze practically on contact, especially with the wind temperature, the chill factor, as it's known now. It freezes up straight away, and then more ice comes and it builds up and builds up and builds up until it has to, well, we'll try and keep it down before it gets too dangerous, knocking it off with a big hammer or a spanner or something like that.